So hey guys, and welcome to the Random Watch Dude channel. My name's Mark. If you haven't watched my channel before, I'm just a random watch dude who likes to talk about watches, plotting my watch journey. Bit of an Omega fanboy, and today's video actually is very much about Omega. What I wanted to talk to you about today was what I could loosely refer to as Omega's cunning plan. So Omega's cunning plan, for those of you that ever used to watch Blackadder, Blackadder goes fourth, was my favourite of all the series, but Blackadder starring Rowan Atkinson had a bit of a kind of a gimp sidekick called Baldric, and he was so thick really, I think it was just the word you could use to describe him, but every now and then he would come up with a cunning plan. And he'd make a big deal about this cunning plan that he had, and I'm kind of looking at Omega right now and thinking, you know, maybe they're a bit of a baldric in the watch sphere, and I've got a feeling actually that Baldric might be about to come up with a cunning plan. So I'm going to tell you about what I think the cunning plan is, and just to put some context around this, today is the day that Swatch have just released images of the new MoonSwatch. I'll put a picture of it up here. I'm sure you've seen it already, but this is the new MoonSwatch. This is the Snoopy edition that everybody's been talking about potentially coming out. I think there must have been some sort of rumour leak a few weeks ago because there were a few renders of a new MoonSwatch then. This is the one that everybody expected. This is the Snoopy version. Look guys, I know obviously people are going to get really excited about this, and there are going to be queues outside the Swatch boutiques when this releases, I think next week on the 26th of March, I think it is. People are going to be queuing up for this, not because it's a fantastic watch, but because they think that they can buy a couple and maybe keep one as an investment and sell the other and make a few $100. So as a watch, guys, I think it's rubbish. You know, that's just my view on it, and I'm sorry because if that offends anybody out there that loves these MoonSwatches, but I just think it's a piece of plastic crap, and because it's pure white with a few specks of black in it, you know, I could almost refer to it as a bird shit really. So look, that's just my view on it. You know, as the old saying here in New Zealand is, you can roll a turd in glitter, but at the end of the day it's still a turd, and that's what I think of the whole MoonSwatch kind of franchise really. However, getting back to my point, guys, whether you love that or hate it, it got released just this week, and I'm starting to see a bit of a trend here with what Omega, and who are part of the Swatch group, of course, let's not forget that, what they're actually looking at maybe as a long-term plan for the rest of 2024. Now, I made a video 2 or 3 months ago now, just before Christmas, where I suggested that 2024 is Omega's big year. They've had a bit of a shocker for the last 2 or 3 years, let's be honest, Omega. I really think they've underperformed big time, and they've had their asses handed to them, particularly by Tudor. I think Tudor are starting to regress a little bit now. They certainly, over the last year or so, I've seen, you know, the hype around Tudor start to die off. Although Tudor is still a very well priced, high quality product, I think Omega have kind of let Tudor eat into that market. So I always said that I thought 2024 was going to be Omega's big year, and I kind of underpinned that thought by saying, look, it's time for Omega to update and release a new version of the Omega Seamaster. The Seamaster Professional 300. I still think that's coming, and I think it's coming soon. So here's the cunning plan. So Omega have just released the latest MoonSwatch Snoopy, the bird shit. 2 weeks ago, they, and this is not a coincidence by the way, 2 weeks ago they released what I think is a fantastic new watch, which is a genuine, proper Moonwatch with the white dial, which I'd like to think that that's going to be fondly referred to as the Daniel Craig. The reason being, of course, because he is the iconic kind of Bond character. He's worn Omega very well in the Bond films, and he was actually photographed wearing that white dialed Moonwatch, sorry, about a couple of months before it was released at least. So that was a couple of weeks ago. So 2 weeks prior to the release of the Snoopy Moonswatch, the white dialed moon watch was released. 2 weeks prior to that, guys, roughly 2 weeks prior to that, we had the release of a couple of new Omega Planet Ocean dials. So this wasn't a new Omega Planet Ocean per se, but it was a couple of new Omega Planet Ocean dials. Now, they were boutique only models. I don't think much of them. They're kind of a pastel-y, washed out kind of dial and bezel, but hey, look, I get that some people out there might like that, and because it's a boutique only model, you know, that's probably going to add a little bit of hype around those models. If you walk into an Omega boutique, you know, and you get offered that by the sales guy, you know, you might be tempted to drop all your money on that and not negotiate, because they'll say, oh no sir, no discounts on this one, it's boutique only, full price only, I'm sorry. So that's why I think the boutique only models are going to get more and more, I guess, common, especially with the larger watch brands, and particularly with Omega. Anyway, getting back to my point, that was in the middle of February that Omega released those two new Planet Ocean models. So 2 weeks before the Moonwatch, the white dialed Moonwatch. Now, just a couple of weeks before that, Omega released the new Omega Moonwatch. What was that? That was the dark side of the moon with the little rocket in the hours. I think it was a little in the hours hand, is it, or on one of the subdials? A little rocket, a little bit gimmicky. Probably what was, you know, most boring about that is that they've already released the dark side of the moon, and this was kind of just an update to that watch, which I don't think they really needed to make, but they did anyway. So what I'm seeing here, guys, is a bit of a trend. Every 2 or 3 weeks, since the turn of the year, and it started with the picture of Daniel Craig wearing the white dialed Moonwatch, and every 2 or 3 weeks since then, so far this year, right up until today, Omega have released something quite interesting. Whether you like it or not, it's been quite a decent, I guess, amount of attention around it. So where does that? So, as my wife always says to me, because she used to be in the police, history is the best judge of the future. So whatever the past looks like, it's the best judge of what's going to happen in the future. And this is obviously a reference to criminals, but and I'm not inferring, of course, that Omega are being criminal, but they have been a little bit criminal, I think, in their lack of exciting releases over the last couple of years. But my cunning plan, guys, this is what I think Omega's cunning plan is. So Baldric has decided that they are going to release the new Omega Seamaster Professional 300, you know, the model that absolutely is going to change their fortunes in terms of, you know, people's perception of them in the watch industry. That model will be released. I'm picking that their cunning plan is they're going to release that new Seamaster in a couple of weeks' time. So they're going to let the hype around the new Snoopy birdship Moonswatch. They'll just let that hype, you know, let that ferment for a couple of weeks, because that watch will get released next week, and there'll be some hype, and there'll be lots of pictures of people queuing up outside the Swatch shop and fighting to get in the door to get one of these plastic pieces of rubbish. Once that hype starts to dissipate after a couple of weeks, bang, there'll be another new release, and that will tie in perfectly, guys, and this is why I think this is quite a cunning plan. That will tie in perfectly with the commencement of Watches and Wonders. So Watches and Wonders kicks off on the 9th of April, which is just a couple of weeks from now. Omega and the Swatch Group don't go to Watches and Wonders. They've kind of pulled out. They used to be a part of that, but they've pulled out. There will be a massive amount of hype on YouTube and on social media around Watches and Wonders from the 9th of April, and it'll go on for a week, and actually it'll go on for 11 months whilst people are still trying to make hay off of all those releases commercially. And what I think Swatch and Omega are going to do is I think they're going to bang out a massive new model right on the commencement of Watches and Wonders, and that would be the right thing to do, guys. That would be absolutely the right thing to do, because Omega knows that when they release that new Seamaster, it will be the biggest hype watch of the year, probably even bigger than, you know, let's say if Rolex were to release a new version of the GMT Master 2 in a different colorway, even if it was a Coke, which I can't see, but even if it was, I still think a new Seamaster would be a bigger hype event. A new Seamaster would be a bigger hype event, guys, than even a Coke Rolex GMT, because If you think about this, a Coke Rolex GMT will be completely and utterly unavailable to the likes of you and me. It will only be available via the grey market at double the price. Whereas a new Seamaster 300, which has got all the great things that we know it needs to have, that will be available. That won't be a boutique only. That will be out in the shops, available for you to buy. So that would be a bigger deal, I think, in the watch industry this year than even an amazing new colourway on a GMT Master 2, or even a Submariner. Even if they re-release the Hulk Submariner again, it would be an amazing thing for Rolex to do, but it wouldn't be available to the likes of you and me. So yeah, look, big deal, big prediction from me, I guess you could say. But I think this is Baldric's cunning plan, guys. Omega's cunning plan is that they're going to bang out the new Seamaster Professional 300 around just before. I don't think it'll be after. I think it'll be just before or on the 9th of April. So, guys, imagine that. Sword hands. Beautiful sword hands, you know, that lovely compact wave dial that we liked on the older Omega Seamasters. Imagine that. I'll put a little render up just up here, a very, very crude layman's render of what I think that watch could look like. Guys, let me know what you think. It's just me, really, I don't know anything. It's just me sort of hypothesizing, philosophizing, and criticizing, I suppose you could say as well. But let me know what you think. That's my pick, that's my prediction. The new Seamaster just before or on the 9th of April, just as Watches and Wonders kicks off, you know, steal the thunder from all the other guys that have been kicking their ass over the last couple of years. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.